And welcome back into Live Now, and you're taking a live look there at the White House, where President Trump just landed back in the United States here just moments ago after the G7 summit over in France. And one of those big topic of conversation there was artificial intelligence, as the French president on Wednesday urged the world's wealthy democracies to work together on regulating advanced artificial intelligence systems, speaking at a high-level meeting that included top AI executives. Now, this also overshadowing the discussion on AI was President Donald Trump's administration's directive last week preventing foreign nationals from using Anthropic's newest and most powerful artificial intelligence models. So a lot to discuss here when it comes to the artificial intelligence front. And to break it all down for us, we want to introduce here the CEO of SalesboxAI, Alex Roy, onto the program here. Alex, great to be with you here. So how can the G7 meeting here shape the global baseline that we're seeing for AI regulation?
Hi, Bowen. Yeah, it's, I would say the real shift is that AI is moving into the same category as semiconductors and critical infrastructure, which means that, you need to have access controls as well as safety controls.
And with the French president also saying just there on Wednesday, urging the world's wealthy democracies to work together on regulating advanced artificial intelligence systems, how would that work to have multiple countries come together with the regulations? What could that look like?
So what we're seeing is that that you have different regulations in each geography. So, for example, Europe is very focused on very Europe specific regulations, and what that means is there needs to be a way to make sure that those regulations are placed within each of those regions. And you also have a US-led initiative, which is to kind of restrict access to certain models as well. So we're looking at having different variants of the models in different regions. So it's going to be region specific.
And with President Donald Trump's administration directives last week preventing foreign nationals from using Anthropic's newest and most powerful artificial intelligence models, is there a race for AI, and what benefits could the president have by wanting to keep these models just exclusive to the United States?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And it's important to understand that, it wasn't that the model was completely leap years ahead or, sentinel. The issue was that, the model makes both a good and a bad actor, perhaps, multiple magnitudes smarter. So when that happens, you need to take some time to make sure that, it's safe. And, there needs to be that ability to kind of sandbox it and then, kind of test and then release it. So, yeah, it is a mechanism. And we're probably going to see as these models evolve that it's going to be more of a standard where there's that, it's going to be the level of access is going to be different for different regions. And it's similar with other technology adoption curves as well. So if you remember, if you look at GPS, initially that started as for military specific, U.S. military, but then you have multiple GPS systems and you have different levels of accuracy that's available as well.
And why are we seeing now AI and the sovereignty and infrastructure of it suddenly becomes such a big point here in policy priorities?
So, I mean, for each government, for each country, it's very important to be able to control your destiny. And, and sovereignty is rooted in that. So being able to, make sure that your country has access to the AI infrastructure and models is critical. It is part of critical infrastructure, and each country and region is looking to prioritize that.
And are we seeing AI labs pushing to influence policy at all at the moment before regulations or more strict regulations are put in place?
I mean, it's really great to see that we have the AI lab leaders, who are building those frontier models. We also have the hyperscaler leaders, company leaders also working with the government, at the G7 summit in a collaborative way. Regulation takes time. So usually you have to start with certain guidelines. So they are framing those guidelines, which is like unofficial, but guidelines at the same time, and that most of that is what's going to get codified into the first version of regulations. So it's great that it's together. Yeah, collaborative.
And are there concerns about cyber attacks or any risks of reshaping the conversation around AI governance at all?
Absolutely, yeah. So the technology has dual use, as we all know, and it makes both a good and a bad actor, probably 10x smarter and more efficient. So that's the reason for making sure there's adequate safeguards, and we don't want to make it. We want to make things slightly more tougher for them. So.
And then I wanted to get your final thoughts on the G7 summit around the conversations of artificial intelligence. What do you think will come out of the summit meetings when they brought in those AI representatives into those conversations there?
One was, I think, to get there, because they're closer, they have a ringside view. Governments need to know what's coming ahead, and, they would be able to share insights on that and, really help shape the policy there. And we are really seeing that there is multiple AI blocks evolving in parallel. So you have trusted access groups or access networks to say, that's shaping as well. So you have one, a US-led initiative. There is, Europe that's leading another initiative, which is very regulatory focused. You have, you have India and other countries. You have China as well, building, an ecosystem as well. So the great thing is that these ecosystems are growing in parallel, and there's a lot of cross learning, and it's all good.
Yeah, definitely. AI is definitely growing here fast. Alex Roy, CEO of SalesboxAI, thank you so much for hopping on this morning and helping break all this down for us. We appreciate it.
Pleasure being on the show. Thank you.